it, fam. Let's get to it. I'm usually not a doom and gloom person, but I think right now our society is facing one of the greatest crises is ever experienced. I think this particular crisis has reached epic proportion, and if we don't get a grip on it, it's gonna destroy us. It's just absolutely gonna destroy us. As much as I look at our society and I look at everything that's going on, this epidemic is a lack of accountability. Nobody wants to be accountable for jack squat nowadays. Everything that happens is always somebody else's fault. If I mistreat you, you deserved it. It was your fault. If I don't succeed, or if I mess up, or if I destroy my life, it's not anybody else. It's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. What was I supposed to do? It was all destined to fail. Nobody takes accountability for anything nowadays. Not man, not woman, not child, not black, not white. Nobody takes accountability anymore. Everything is always somebody else's fault. I shouldn't be surprised though. Right after Adam and Eve bit from the tree, and as soon as they messed up and God shows up without failing, Adam says, "It was the woman you gave me, God. She the one who bit the fruit and then gave it to me and then told me to eat. I only did it because she did it." The woman say, "It was the snake. The devil made me do it. He made it look so enticing and wasn't nobody around to tell me to stop. I was just sitting here, and what did you expect me to do? It looked so good. How was I supposed to know it was going? It was the devil's fault." Everything is always somebody else's fault. Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody. I have learned in my lifetime to get away from saying nobody. Somebody is. Few people are getting to a place where they are taking account and accountability for every decision that they make. If you don't take ownership of your life, you will always be at the mercy of whatever this life throws at you. You will always be at the mercy of somebody else's choices, somebody else's decision, somebody else's circumstance, and there is nothing you'll be able to do about it unless you take ownership and accountability of your own life. We have been conditioned, and I learned this at an early age. I realized this. Being a young black man in the United States whenever, I realized that I was set up for failure. And let me give you an example of what I mean. Me, Corey Williams, if I drop out of high school, there will be those who will come to my defense and be like, "Well, what did you expect him to do? The education system sucks. You can't expect these kids to get a quality education. This education system is deplorable and it's horrible, and these kids are getting an inferior education and blah, 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 blah." Right? Same Corey. I graduate magna cum laude. I get a scholarship to an Ivy League university. Well, see what I'm saying? How do you look at that? Every one of these kids ain't failures. Y'all act like all these kids is dumb. You give a kid a chance, I'm telling you, with half of a chance, these kids will excel. They'll do better than anything. Same Corey Williams. I drop out of school and sell dope. Well, what do you think? Ain't no jobs available for nobody. You can't expect these kids. Ain't nobody getting no money. There's no jobs. Ain't nobody giving them. People can't make that. What do you expect them to do? How you expect them to feed their family? Ain't no jobs available for them. Same Corey Williams. Works 2 or 3 jobs to take care of his family. See, y'all act like everybody out here just selling dope and doing all this. Look at all these good people out here and they doing all of this and look at how this. Y'all act like everybody is just a thug and they just destined to sell drugs and to kill and rob and steal. Look at this. This person's working 3 jobs to take care of his family. Ain't he such a good person? Same Corey Williams. Gets 2 or 3 girls or get a bunch of baby mama. All the system is all jacked up. They is incentivizing these women to just have all these babies and everything and make these babies and don't take care of them and can't treat them and don't do that. And now y'all want to blame the men like this men is, they incentivizing these women to take advantage of these men so they could just make babies and do all this. Same Corey Williams marries one woman, has babies with just that one woman. Y'all act like men are all out here, all these men are out here just making babies and ain't taking care of them. Look at all. Do you see where I'm going with this? We have been conditioned from the beginning not to take ownership of the decisions that we make. I heard a person tell me this. You can't control every situation you find yourself in, but you can control how you respond. What you do with the choices that you make once you find yourself in whatever circumstance and situation you find yourself in is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. Nobody can control what decisions and what choices you make, regardless what situation you find yourself in. Am I telling you you always going to find yourself in a good situation? No, that's not what I'm telling you. Am I telling you that everything is always going to be easy? No, that's not what I'm telling you. Am I telling you that you're always going to have between 1 and 2 or 3 good choices and maybe a few bad choices? No, every decision you find yourself in may be a bad decision. But you have to take ownership of the choice that you make and choose whichever choice you think you can live with to get yourself and whatever people are around you in the best possible situation you can. That's taking ownership of the situation. We have to start teaching people how to take ownership of their choices. See, when you hold a person accountable, right? I believe half the problem that we got on with our society is we give people too many outs. If you want to have free sex and you want to do that, don't worry about it. We'll just give you a pill and you don't have to deal with AIDS. What? You want to have sex and you want to live freely and you don't want to have to take care of the baby? Don't worry about it. You can kill it. That's your body, your choice. But if we start holding people accountable, if as a society we say, you made that choice, you got to live with it. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's running to get you out of the situation. Nobody's getting ready to make it easier for you. You're going to have to live in the choices that you make. I guarantee you we'll find people making better choices and a lot faster. Oh, Corey, you act like everything is easy and you ain't never had. Listen, I have had to make tough choices. Everybody does. But having to make a tough choice is not an excuse for not taking ownership for the choices that you have to make. True story. I don't like glorifying my old life. It just is. And I'm not getting ready to sit here and start telling this felonious stupidity about how well I was doing. I was not. I had made a pretty decent living in the streets. Not nothing overly spectacular. But one day I was at the club and a person who was in my close sphere of influence introduced me to somebody. Now I knew who this person was that they were introducing me to, and I had absolutely no intention on ever making any contact with this person. This person was just moving in a way that I didn't want to be involved in. They were they were a lot further up the food chain than I was willing to be comfortable with. Shortly after that introduction, a friend of mine I grew up with, young lady, walks up on me and was like, "Dang, Corey, I didn't know you was doing it like that." And I'm trying to play it all off because I'm like, "Girl, what you doing?" Because I'm in flirt mode or whatever. I'm like, "What you talking about, girl?" Not you. "Dang, Corey, I didn't know you was making moves like that." I'm like, "Nah, I ain't doing it like that." Fast forward into the conversation, she could start to see that I really wasn't trying to move like that. But she did let me know, you know who you just shook hands with. You know what they about. And I understood what she was saying. The streets is always watching. See, that was one of the first decisions that led me to realize I didn't want no parts of this life. See, I wasn't going to be somebody who was going to get caught in a situation and now all of a sudden the police or somebody else is telling me, "Now you got access. We seen you with this person. We saw you with that person. We saw you do this. And now if you don't do this and do that, then we going to do." I didn't want to live like that. So I quit. I don't get it twisted. I didn't think it was enough money in the world for me to be willing to sacrifice my freedom for when I knew what the streets had to offer. I knew there was no retirement packages, no benefits plan in the streets. There's no collaboration of retired drug dealers in the streets. Everybody who was in the streets had three options. You either got out fast enough and took some of the money that you had and did something to start something else with. You either went to jail or you got killed. There was no other options. And understanding that, I made a choice. Sure, you can say, well, you made the choice to sell drugs to begin with. You're absolutely right. But then I took accountability for my choice. I'm done. All of us will be faced with opportunities. All of us will be faced with choices. All of us will be presented with things that in the moment it seems like this is the greatest decision ever. This seems like exactly what I want to do. This seems like if I could just do this right here, this is going to give me exactly what I want. But if it doesn't give you what you want, and the outcome isn't favorable, and it doesn't produce what you thought it was going to produce, that's on you. You need to own it. Don't blame somebody else. Devil didn't make you do it. You didn't lose your mind. No, everybody understands all of that stuff. Own it. See, until you own the decisions and the choices you make, you will always find a reason to repeat making bad decisions. You will always justify the next bad decision as, even though it didn't work for me the last time, if so-and-so wouldn't have did this, or if this wouldn't have happened, or if this would have been better, it would have worked out for me. And you will always find yourself making bad decisions. You will always find yourself doing things over and over. What is it? The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I submit that stupidity is a lack of accountability. Doing the same thing over and over and blaming everybody else for it. That's stupidity. But accountability puts you on a path to make better decisions, because every decision you make, you own it, and you only start to make the decisions that you believe you can live with for the rest of your life, whether good, whether bad. We need to fix this lack of accountability epidemic. If not, we'll have a generation of people, and we actually already have generations of people who just blame everything and keep doing things and keep messing things up, and they'll never have the opportunity to fix it until they take ownership of the choices they make. All right, y'all. That's my 2 cents on the two-piece. Y'all be blessed.
Now you're locked in.